On September 11, 2025, UMass Boston was thrown into chaos by a report of shots fired, a day that echoed the weight of history and brought a sudden, chilling reality to the heart of the campus. What began as an ordinary morning quickly unraveled into a scene of confusion and fear, as students and faculty found themselves at the center of a crisis no one could have anticipated. The fears of our present became palpable, etched on the faces of students and staff as uncertainty swept through the university halls. The campus, usually alive with the energy of learning and connection, was instantly transformed. Urgent safety alerts flashed across screens, and a massive police response descended on the grounds, their presence both reassuring and alarming. The university's alert system blared warnings, instructing everyone to shelter in place. Officers with rifles methodically swept the grounds, searching every corner as the community waited in tense silence for any news. For hours, uncertainty and anxiety gripped the community. Locked in classrooms, hiding behind desks, or peering anxiously out windows, students and staff clung to their phones, desperate for updates. The threat, real or not, felt all too possible in a world where such incidents have become far too common. Though the incident was ultimately a false alarm, the trauma was real. The experience exposed the psychological burden students carry in today's world, where the line between safety and danger can blur in an instant. Many found themselves shaken, struggling to process the fear and confusion that lingered long after the all-clear was given. The lockdown became more than a local story. It was a stark reminder of the national conversation about safety and well-being on campuses. News crews arrived, headlines spread, and the story resonated far beyond Boston, sparking debates about preparedness and mental health. In this video, we'll walk through the timeline of that day, hear from students who lived through the ordeal, and reflect on the lessons learned from a crisis no one will soon forget. Their voices and experiences offer insight into the challenges faced by today's students. The questions raised during those tense hours still linger. How do we balance safety and fear? What does it mean to feel secure in a place of learning? And how do we move forward after such a scare? And how do we support those left shaken by the experience? As we explore these questions, we hope to shed light on the resilience of the UMass Boston community and the ongoing journey toward healing and understanding. It all began at 3:40 p.m. with a single chilling report shots fired near 240 Morrissey Boulevard, right by the East Building. Instantly, the UMass Boston Police, and State Police mobilized, treating the call as a worst-case scenario. The university's emergency alert system sent out urgent messages, warning everyone to avoid the area and shelter in place. For thousands on campus, the digital alerts shattered the routine, confirming the threat was real enough for law enforcement to act. The timing, mid-afternoon, meant the campus was packed, complicating the response. Authorities had to act fast, containing the situation and securing a sprawling urban campus. The initial moments were filled with uncertainty. Was there a shooter? Were people hurt? No one knew for sure. For students, the questions were immediate and personal. Am I safe? Where do I go? The day had taken a dark, frightening turn. Police responded within minutes, flooding the campus with vehicles and officers. The sound of sirens echoed through the university grounds, signaling the seriousness of the unfolding situation. Students and faculty watched in shock as law enforcement converged from all directions, their presence growing by the second. Tactical teams from multiple agencies arrived, each bringing specialized skills and equipment. The coordination between local police, state troopers, and federal agents was immediate and intense, reflecting the gravity of the threat. Heavily armed officers established a tight perimeter, blocking off key access points and preparing to enter buildings. Their presence was both reassuring for those seeking safety and terrifying for those caught in uncertainty. Former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis explained on live TV that every report must be treated as real until proven otherwise. In these moments, there is no room for doubt or delay. The go big, go fast approach is standard. Hesitation can be deadly. Officers moved with urgency, communicating constantly as they took up positions around the campus. Officers assumed a shooter was present, launching a full-scale tactical operation. Every hallway, classroom, and common area was treated as a potential danger zone. The initial focus was the East Building, where tactical teams prepared to search room by room, methodically clearing each space to ensure no threat remained. Other officers locked down the campus, creating a frozen zone where no one could enter or leave. Streets were cordoned off and the entire area was under strict control. University officials sent out clear, direct alerts: shelter in place, stay away from windows, avoid the campus center and Kennedy Institute. The instructions were urgent and left no room for misinterpretation. The constant stream of updates was alarming but crucial for keeping everyone safe. Students huddled together, glued to their phones, desperate for any news about what was happening outside their doors. The campus had become a war zone, one that no student expects to see. In a matter of minutes, a place of learning was transformed into a scene of fear and uncertainty, as everyone waited for answers. For students, the afternoon became a nightmare of fear and uncertainty. In classrooms, professors locked doors and told everyone to hide. In dorms, students like Emily barricaded themselves inside. The digital alerts were followed by sirens, confirming this was no drill. In the East Building, fear was palpable. Students huddled in dark rooms, whispering and checking their phones for updates. Social media and group chats became lifelines, but also fueled rumors and anxiety. The silence between official updates was agonizing, as students imagined the worst. The psychological impact was profound. Active shooter drills had not prepared them for this reality. As one student said, "You practice it, but when it's real, your heart is pounding out of your chest." The fear would linger long after the sirens faded. After tense waiting, police began a controlled evacuation of buildings, starting with the East Building. The air was thick with anxiety as students and staff tried to process what was happening. The sound of police radios and urgent footsteps echoed through the hallways, signaling that the situation was real and immediate. Heavily armed officers knocked on doors, instructing students to exit with hands raised, a frightening but necessary protocol. Officers moved quickly but calmly, their presence both reassuring and intimidating. For many, it was the first time they had ever seen such a show of force on campus. Students left belongings behind, forming single-file lines as news cameras captured the surreal scene. Backpacks, laptops, and textbooks were abandoned in classrooms and hallways, a stark reminder of how quickly normal life had been interrupted. They were escorted to safer areas, faces showing fear, confusion, and relief. Some students clung to friends, while others walked in silence, processing the gravity of the moment. Another student recalled being told to stay away from the residence halls as the situation unfolded. Text messages and campus alerts buzzed constantly, spreading both information and rumors. The evacuation was deliberate, not panicked, managed step by step by law enforcement. Officers gave clear instructions, guiding students through unfamiliar emergency procedures with steady voices. Each student cleared meant one less person at risk, allowing police to focus their search. The process was methodical, with officers checking names and making sure no one was left behind. For those evacuated, the experience was emotional and surreal. Walking past armed officers at your own school is something you never forget. The sight of familiar hallways filled with tactical gear and drawn weapons left a lasting impression. The relief of safety was mixed with anxiety for friends still inside. Outside, students hugged, cried, and checked their phones for updates, desperate for news about classmates and loved ones. The evacuation was a critical but deeply traumatic step in resolving the crisis. In the days that followed, the campus community would come together to process what had happened, forever changed by the events of that day. As evacuations continued, police began a painstaking room-by-room search of the campus. Tactical teams focused on the East Building and surrounding areas, clearing hallways, dorms, classrooms, and offices. The scale was immense. UMass Boston's complex layout required coordination and manpower from multiple agencies. Every closed door was a potential threat. Officers moved with extreme caution. The goal: be absolutely certain no threat remained. Throughout, the campus stayed on lockdown, with students and staff waiting in fear as police worked. The sound of officers and sirens kept tension high. University alerts continued, advising everyone to remain sheltered. The professionalism and training of officers were on full display. Each cleared room reported back to command. It was slow, deliberate, and the only way to ensure safety after such a report. After hours of lockdown and searches, the all-clear finally came. No shots fired, no shooter found, no weapons on campus. Relief swept through UMass Boston. Students emerged from hiding, reunited with friends, and the heavy police presence began to fade. Classes were canceled for the evening, giving the community time to process the trauma. But relief was mixed with confusion and lingering fear. What had happened? How could a false alarm feel so real? The fear and panic were not easily dismissed. The incident left an indelible mark, testing emergency systems and shattering the sense of security. The physical lockdown ended, but for many, the psychological lockdown was just beginning. The campus was safe again, but the feeling of safety was gone. As shock faded, students voiced frustration and anger, relief overshadowed by exhaustion, with a world where school safety isn't guaranteed. Emily, the freshman from the East Building, summed it up. Nobody should have to go to school in fear of getting shot. That's ridiculous. Her words echoed across campus, capturing a generation's frustration with the reality of school shootings. Other students described the terror of hiding, the anxiety of waiting, and the surreal experience of evacuation. The incident forced them to confront a vulnerability they try to ignore. Even as a false alarm, the lockdown amplified anxieties about what could happen. The event sparked conversations about campus safety and mental health support. Students demanded more action to address the root causes of violence. The lockdown was a wake-up call. More must be done so no student has to experience this terror, real or not. The UMass Boston lockdown was a false alarm, but the lessons are real. Every threat must be taken seriously. Swift, massive response is the only option in today's world. The emergency alert system worked, and lockdown protocols proved their worth. The incident will lead to reviews and improvements, refining safety measures for the future. The emotional toll is just as real as the physical threat. Mental health support is vital. The experience bonded the community, but also left a scar. True safety means more than preventing violence. It means fostering a secure, supportive environment. The message is clear. Always prioritize safety, listen to students, and work for a world where no one fears going to school. The responsibility to protect students is sacred and must never be taken lightly.